Okay, so away from the text manipulation, let's do some formulas for numbers. Let's start with mean. Equal to mean, open brackets, highlight the data set, then you can see the minimum value. Mean is just short form for minimum. If I want to get a minimum for all the entire data sets, equal to sign, mean, open bracket, starts with the first number, highlight everything, it returns the smallest number, that's the minimum. Likewise for maximum, equal to max, open brackets, starts from the first letter, highlight it, don't drag. I just, if you drag, it's going to copy the entire number into all the cells. Yes, equal to sign, max, open bracket, starts, highlight everything, it returns the maximum number in that data set. Median, so we start with mode. Mode shows the most frequently occurring number in a data set. So equal to sign, you put the mode keyword, open bracket. In this case, you don't need to, you just highlight the data set. That's the argument it takes. So it gives you the number that will occur most in that data set. And that's what's going to return. As you can see in this data set, we have 1 as the most occurring numbers. If you count number of occurrences, it's as high as occurrences. Then we'll go to median. Median finds the middle number within a data set. So starting from your first number to the end. So if you have 7 numbers, the median will be the fourth number. If you have an even number, it's going to add the 2 and divide by 2. So we have 2 as a middle number here. When we count up and down, it gives us 2 as the median. So let's go to the average. Average sums everything up and divides it by the number of numbers within that data set. So after adding, it now counts numbers and divide the number where we find our average. So equal to average, open brackets, and you just put in your data set, highlight your data set. So that's the result. So if you do manual calculation, you will get the same thing as well. Interesting formula is the count formula. So count counts each of the cell that contains a number. So equal to, put a count, open brackets, you highlight the data set and returns 5 because we have 5 cells with numbers in them. Equal to sign again, counts, open brackets, I'm highlighting the entire data set. It's giving me 20. So I'm going to delete some, numbers in some of the cells and see what is going to return for me when I count it. So don't forget, space is a character, and so we won't be counting the cell that has space in there. So you see it has 4 in there. So I will show you how to use the counting formula. So it's basically counting based on a condition. So equal to count if reserved word, select the cell or the series of cells you want to count from. Then you put in the condition. In this case, I want to count all the cells that contains the word minimum, and I'm going to put them in quotation. You can see it returned to, because you have 2 cells in that column that contains minimum. So again, I can change to capital to see if indeed it's going to return. So the same thing is 2 because it's not case sensitive. It just checks the word in itself. And also, if I just want to check a part of the text, for example, I want to say all those ones are end with mum, so it will include maximum and minimum together. I'll put asterisks at the beginning and I'll put mum at the end, so it returns the value. If it's also mini, I want to check, I'll put mini and put asterisks at the back. So anyone that contains mini, regardless of the word, it's going to return it. So let's talk about the average if and the sum if formula. So it's similar to count if, there's always a condition attached. So equal to sign, you put the average if keyword, then you open brackets. Then you select the series of cells you want the average to be done. In this case, I want it to be done between C2 and C14. But the next thing will be my condition. Remember, we are dealing with numeric cells here and not text. So my condition will be numeric based. In this case, I want everywhere that is greater than 1, I want it to calculate the average for me. Again, I'm still going to put it in quotation regardless because the condition, but it should be numeric related. So it selects every of the instances where it's greater than 1. That's where I'm pointing all my cells to. And you see it's going to sum up. We have 8 instances in there. So it's going to sum it up and divide by 8. So let's just manually calculate that and see if we get the same thing. So in this case, the sum is 31 and we have 8 cells there, and voila, we have the same thing. So, but the second way of using the average if is putting in a range. You want, let's just see how it goes first. Equal to sign the average if keyword. I'm going to put that in. Sorry about the error. Yes, I'm going to put that in open brackets and I'm going to select the cell. But I want the average to be done on another cell and not on C2 and C14. Do you understand? But C2 and C14 will inform my decision, will check for my condition. But the average will be performed on another cell. So everywhere we have that is greater than 1 in C2 and C14, please calculate the average in the corresponding cells between D2 and D14. So use C2 and C14 to check for the condition, but performs the average on the corresponding cells, which is quantity. So you can see that all those 8 instances, rather than calculating the average on that cell, is going to pick 6, it's going to pick 8, it's going to pick 7 to calculate the average. So that's where you use the range. So in 2 ways, either on the cell you specify or on the another cells that corresponds to those cells that fulfills the condition. Yeah, quite interesting. So I'm going to just leave it based that this is for average if, the ordinary average if, and the 9.25 is the average if with the range, so we don't get it confused. 9.25 for average if with range. Interesting. So let's go to sum if. Sum if also uses condition. That's where the if part comes in. We also do equal to sign. The sum if keyword is in there. Open brackets, and we select the cells where you want to sum is addition. In this case, I want to sum C2 between C2 and C14. And my condition goes into quotation as well. Every instance that you find it greater than 1, please do the summation. Yeah. Let's see what that brings. 31. Just like, when we're performing the average, when you sum all those instances, you should get 31 everywhere that you have it greater than 1 should have 31 instances. Brilliant. So sum if, average if, count if are very, very similar. But let's do one more thing with sum if. Equal to sum if, open brackets, select C2 to C14, put your condition in there. Greater than 1, every instance where it's greater than 1. It could be less than 1. It's just me using as an example. And I want to sum D2. So again, this is just to say sum if with range. So don't sum on C2, but sum on D2. It could be E2. It could be as long as far as you have numeric values and you have values in C2. So if you manually calculate it as well, you should get 74. So average if, sum if can work with range and can just be on its own. So guys, in today's video, we'll be discussing the VLOOKUP formula. So you can see the sheet I'm working on. I'll put the equal to sign and the VLOOKUP keyword. Then I open bracket and select the file that contains the item I want to check. So I've opened the second sheet and I'm going to highlight the entire column, which contains the list of items, then comma 1, and I'm going to select false. So the 1 there denotes that I want the first value in that column that I've selected to be returned. That means the number of columns determine the number of values. So you can see that some of them did not return some values because it's not in the list. So let's just do a search of the entire value. So you can see lemon is not there, and that's why we have the NA returned. I'm still going to discuss different types of errors, so watch out for that video. So let's search for banana. You can see banana returned. And if you go back to the sheets, we're going to see that we have banana. Now I have another column to show if we have enough quantity in there. So I put equal to sign, VLOOKUP, then select the item. And I'm going to go back to the sheet and highlight the entire column. In this case, I have 2 columns selected. So I want the second column, the value in the second column to be returned. That's why I have 2 there. If it's 1 column I've selected, I'm going to put 1 there. Now it's returned 25 because I have 25 in there. And I'm going to drag to the end so that it replicates the formula to the other cells. Now I have 23 in the quantity I want to buy and I have 25 returned. So do we have enough? So the next thing I am going to do is to ensure I do a differentiation, like a subtraction between that column, or to also compare. Let's just do comparison. I put greater than or equal to, then the cell in there to see true. So yes, you can see it returned true because it's the number that I return is greater than the one I have in my sheet. And those ones that are not in the sheet will return NA as expected. For example, if you see sardine has 64 in there, and I want to buy 5, you can see that true is accurate. That means it's enough for me according to that list. Then I'm going to have a conditional statement. I'm putting if there. I'm putting nested if, so that all those ones with NA will return a value to me, and those ones with true, I want a yes or no. You know, by default, we have true and false in the system, but I just want yes or no in there. So I've said, now, if it is true, return yes. If it's not true, return no. So the second part of the conditional statement, which I'm going to nest, will be the NA part of it. So, but let's just do a cross check again. Carrots, 32, obviously it's low, more than what we have the master sheet, so it's no. So like I said, I'm going to put another nested if in there. So if NA works with if the system recognizes that NA as the value, just give me not found. I just want this sheet to be tidy. So I'm going to wrap the entire formula in there and drag as well. You can see that all those ones that has NA, because NA is system inbuilt, so it's going to recognize this by default. So it has return not found. If you want some other value in there, if you just want to say not available, you could just put it in there. So that's the end of it. I hope you understand.